Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. We've got COVID health protocol updates again on the Princess website that are dated May 10th. Today is Wednesday, May 11th, and so I am going to go through those with you. We've got updates for sailings from the United States and Canada, as well as updates for sailing from the United Kingdom and from Europe. So I'm going to walk you through that, and then we have got lots of other updates and information that I think will be really helpful. And before we start, I just wanted to say that I apologize that we have so much on some of our days, but there is really just so much happening right now that I think is really useful to anyone who is thinking about booking a cruise or who is actually going to be going on a cruise. And as you go through and listen to everything, this is the way I approach it, and why I share so much with you is because even if you're not going to that exact location or doing that exact thing, I think that a lot of times as we learn what's going on, things come in handy that we never suspected that we would need to know. And so that's kind of my approach when I am preparing to go somewhere or thinking about going somewhere. And so I just wanted to let you know where I'm coming from on that. I would like to welcome all of our Let's Go family members. You all are the very best of all, and I'm so grateful that you're all here with us. And also welcome to everyone who is new. You didn't know it, but you have been waiting to find us, and we have been waiting for you to find us. So we're so glad that you came. And if there's anyone here who hasn't subscribed yet, we would love it if you would subscribe to our channel. It'll make you a member of our Let's Go family, and I think that it will be a wonderful place for you to get the information you need, as well as help the rest of us. So first of all, like I said, Princess has issued more COVID health protocol updates, and all of these are on their website. I want to point out that none of this is from a third party source. This is all direct from the Princess website. And so first of all, I'm going to walk you through the protocols that are for sailings from the United States are bunched together with the sailings that are departing from Canada. And so think about it, the sailings from Canada will be heading up to Alaska, or they will be on the East Coast. And so just kind of keep that in mind as you think of them. And so first of all, as you may know, and if you're new here, you maybe don't know, last week the CDC lowered their guidelines and they are now allowing more unvaccinated people on the ships. And so in the United States, instead of cruising with 95% of the passengers on board vaccinated, they are now going to be able to cruise with 90% of the passengers on board vaccinated. And so be aware that if you are not vaccinated, you need to have an exemption. And so if for children who are under the age of 5, they are not eligible for vaccines because none exist for them. And so they don't need an exemption. But if you are going to cruise otherwise with Princess, you need to have an exemption or a vaccine. I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows that really well. Now on voyages from Canada, you either need to have a vaccine or an exemption as well. Earlier in this season, Canada was not allowing any exemptions. Now they say that they are. And so you'll just need to contact Princess for that. If you're someone that wants an exemption, you just call 1-800-PRINCESS. That's their main line, and talk to an agent there. That is how you start the process and how you get your exemption. There's not another way to do it. And so just thought you would like to know how that works. The next thing that I think is really important, it says, do any vaccine exemptions apply for individuals recently recovered from COVID-19? And it says that no, even if you are recently recovered, that does not take the place of a vaccine. Also, let's see. So they do have COVID testing requirements, and I'll just zip through those. If you are going to board a ship sailing from the United States, you need to show and you are fully vaccinated but do not have a booster, then you get to have 2 days to do your antigen test or 3 days to do your booster. 3 days to do your PCR, excuse me. If you are fully vaccinated and you have your booster, then you can have 3 days for your antigen test and 3 days for a PCR test, whichever one you want, you get to pick. And then also, if you are not vaccinated, you have to do a PCR test and you get 3 days to do that. And if you are sailing, so that's for sailings from the United States. If you are sailing from Canada, you need to show proof of a negative COVID antigen test within 2 days, regardless of your vaccine status. If you're vaccinated and have a booster, still 2 days. As well as for a PCR, you get 72 hours. And do note that they said 72 hours on that one. They didn't say 3 days like they said on the others. And then for people who are not vaccinated, you're going to have to get that PCR test within the 72 hours. Okay? Be aware that if you are going on a cruise tour, if you are going on the cruise part first, you have to be tested, of course, to get on the cruise, but then you do not have to be tested to go on the land tour. If you are going on the land tour part first, Princess says that they will take care of getting you the COVID test that you're going to need to be able to board the ship. They don't say where they're doing that, but I'm sure that I don't know if they'll do it at the lodge or at the hotel or at the port. They don't say, but you don't have to worry about it. Now, as you are preparing to get your COVID-19 tests, you can get those anywhere that you want to, like at a Walgreens, a CVS, a private pharmacy, just, an independent one, whatever you want. You can get them at a health center, but just make sure that you get the ones that are actually processed by a lab, or you can do the ones that you can buy from eMed or from Optum that are done with a healthcare provider on a video call with you when you're doing it. Just be aware of that. And then Princess also points out that they understand that because of traveling or whatever reason, this is hard for some people to be able to get a COVID test within a certain amount of time. And you can go online to docgo.com and schedule a test to be done at the port. And those are now costing $60 each. And so I've looked at that website, and I have a whole video that I will find and link below that is all about testing. And basically, when you go on that .go website, you have to select actually the ship and the sailing that you are going to be tested at. So it's really snazzy. But when you are entering your address, if you are not from the United States, you can just use the address there of the port, because they are not set up to take addresses that don't have like a regular US zip code. And so we have confirmed that you just put in the address of the port and that works just fine. And if any of our Let's Go family members are coming from the UK, that says Princess recommends an option for an FDA authorized, medically supervised at-home antigen test kit through their testing partner Prenetics, Prenetics, and those are 30 pounds each. So I thought I'd let you know about that. Let's see what else. Please do know that if you come to the port and you test positive on embarkation day, that you're not going to, of course, be able to board the ship. You'll have to quarantine, and Princess will pay for anything that is not covered by your travel insurance, and they will help you with that, but your whole travel party won't be able to board as well. So if you're coming with your family and one of you tests positive, you won't be able to board, but you do get your cruise fare back as future cruise credits, so you don't lose your money that way. Alrighty. And then finally, if you don't get those test results back in time, you can go ahead and tell them at the port. And if you are fully vaccinated and you show them proof that you have been tested, but didn't get your test results back in time, they will provide a complimentary test for you. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want to make sure everybody knows is on the Medallion Class app, they have the little health questionnaire that you do within 24 hours of boarding. I think we're used to that. If you didn't know that and you're going to sail on Princess soon, download that Medallion Class app and go through the first section. It's called Travel Safe or something like that. And you just go through the steps to be able to, just so that you're ready to embark on your cruise. And so that is what you have to do if you're sailing from the United States, as well as you're sailing from the UK, sailing from Europe, no matter Canada, wherever. In addition to that, if you are sailing from Canada here, it says that within 24 hours of embarkation, you have to submit the information in the ArriveCan app, and get the little digital receipt so that you can have that at embarkation. We have heard from lots of Let's Go family members that they've got people at the terminal to help you with that if you're stuck or having a hard time with it, as well as on the ship. And so just know that you can get help with it there if you really can't do it, but you have to do it. And it also says including Canadian residents. And so it's really simple. I've looked through it and people tell me that it's simple. So there you go. You have to do that ArriveCan app. Please be aware that when you're on the ship, masks are not required except for in areas that they post it, but it is recommended. Now, the other things that I wanted to make sure that people understand are for people that have an exemption, because we do have Let's Go family members who have an exemption. And so, like I have told you, you have to show proof of your negative PCR test when you board. Then they're going to do another test at embarkation, and then and that test costs $60. And then if you have to, it says testing on board every 4 days, as well as testing required by local authorities to go ashore, and disembarkation test on board. Those are all $10 each. And so it says we must provide testing information and reporting to the destinations we visit. So guests will be responsible for the cost of testing and administration in most destinations. Testing, they point out that they just offer it at their internal cost of $10. And so I wanted you to be aware of that, and also that they cannot promise that you can go ashore in all ports. It's based on what the rules of the port are. And if you do go ashore, it's going to have to be with a Princess excursion, and you cannot stay in port and explore on your own. You'll have to come back on the ship. And then, like it mentioned, you're going to have that COVID test at disembarkation. So I just wanted to make sure everybody is clear on that. Now, this is a really big thing that I want to make sure everybody is clear on. So after you get back to your last port and you're going to disembark the ship, originally Princess was saying that they would have there for everyone who needed it a COVID test if you needed one to be able to return to your home country. They are still doing that for ports in the United States. But if you are coming back to Canada, they are no longer going to be supplying those tests for you at disembarkation. You're going to have to get your own test. And just this morning, I received an email from one of our Let's Go family members, and they're going to be debarking in Vancouver. And I thought that the way that he phrased the questions was just very good. He said, that in the email from Princess, it said that they would not be doing that due to circumstances out of their control. And he says, what does that mean, out of control? And so I honestly think, this is just me, but I would guess they're having a hard time getting that many tests. That's just my guess, because that's a lot of tests when you consider how many people, especially are on the Alaska cruises, but also on the East Coast cruises, who are disembarking in Canada and need to fly back to the United States. That's a lot of tests. And so I'm wondering if they're having a hard time getting those. And then he also said, are they opting out, or is this a Canadian policy? And so the way it works, it's not a Canadian policy. They are not requiring any testing at disembarkation. The deal is that you have to have a negative COVID test to fly back into the United States, and you need to have it done within 1 day. And so it was a courtesy, simply a courtesy, that they were offering that to people. And they are no longer able to offer that there in Canada. So be aware. I've been telling people that you can get tested at the port in Vancouver. You can order the test from eMed or Optum that you can do online with someone on a video call with you. I'll hold that up better so that you can see it. Sorry, my light there reflects in it a little bit. There we go. But they are really simple to do. We have videos about how to do it with a laptop, how to do it with your cell phone. We've done it both ways. And I think this is the easiest way to do it, but that's just me. And so just really be aware that you've got to do that, because you don't want to not have a plan and then need a test to fly back to the US. And just also, they do point out here that please note the tests are not required for guests disembarking in Vancouver and returning to the U.S. via motor coach. And so that is the last big update, but I just wanted to make sure everybody is really clear on those things. I know that we've got some new cruisers here, and I'm really excited to hear how everybody is enjoying their cruise. Now, I'm going to combine a little bit the sailings from Europe and from the UK. They are very similar and have a lot of the same rules, and I will tell you when I'm telling you something that just applies to one or the other. So first of all, for sailings from the UK, this is really important. From here on out, you have to either have a booster if your vaccine has been at least 9 months or longer behind you, 270 days or 9 months. And if it's been longer than that since you got your vaccine, you have to have a booster. And if you don't have to have a booster, you've got to have an exemption. So just be really aware of that. That is different than how things are here in the US, but it is what is being required by the EU. And that applies to all sailings from the UK and all sailings from Europe, anywhere. And so let's see, the next thing I wanted to make sure you know about is they do offer exemptions both for sailings from the US and from the UK. And then if you are sailing from the UK, you need to have your antigen test within 2 days if you are vaccinated, and that means you don't have a booster. So vaccinated means you've got your vaccine. Fully vaccinated means that you have got your vaccine and your booster. And so if you're just vaccinated, you've got 2 days for your antigen test, 3 days if you choose a PCR test. If you are vaccinated and have a booster, so you're fully vaccinated, you get 3 days for your antigen test and 3 days for a PCR test if you want. And then if you've got an exemption and you're not vaccinated, you've got 3 days for your PCR test. For sailings from Europe here, let's see here, let me find it for you. For sailings from Europe, everybody has to have their COVID test within 3 days of embarkation, either a PCR or an antigen. And they do remind people that both the ports in Europe and the port in the UK, there in Southampton, testing is available just right there at the terminal, and it will be $60. And so I think that's really handy. If you're not sure how you're going to get a test, you're going to be traveling around before, that's a really good way to do it. We are going to be traveling before we get on our cruise on the 28th. And so we are taking these with us. I'm taking actually several of these each with us, but that's our plan for testing for embarkation. We're just going to do it in our hotel room, and then we'll have the results and be ready to board the ship. And I would also say we're going to test before we leave home, because we don't want to travel all that ways and find out that one or both of us is positive. And so that's what we're going to use as well. And so just throwing that out there, that's a good way to do testing too. You can do that. Alrighty, and then if you are departing on a cruise from Greece, lucky you, they require that your COVID test be done within 1 day, whether it's antigen or PCR. And so they know that that's a tight turnaround time. And it says if guests did not receive their test results in time or are unable to find a testing location, Princess will provide complimentary testing at the terminal. And so even though they've got that tight window there, they're going to have that available for them. But the other interesting thing that I wanted to let everyone know, and it is where they talk about, am I going to be able to go ashore during my cruise? They point out that it says, the ability for guests to go ashore in ports of call is controlled by the government of the ports we visit, based on all of their COVID-19 protocols. Particularly in Europe, vaccination requirements vary widely by port. The maximum validity period set by the EU for your vaccine is 9 months. Like I mentioned, how you need to either have your vaccine within 9 months or else you need to have a booster. And that's what they're saying. It says, however, many countries have even lower limits starting at 90 days for how long they consider your vaccine to be good before you have to have a booster. For guests who are not up to date with their vaccinations, additional testing may be needed to go ashore. Guests will be charged $10 US for each test needed on board. Local protocols are subject to change. Please ensure that you are familiar with the requirements of the destinations that you plan to visit. And so I want to just put out there, if you're going to travel so far, you might want to consider getting a booster if your vaccine is very old at all. I only say that because I'm a worrying person. Like I mentioned, we have our second booster. They do not talk about second boosters at all, but we just did it as kind of a, to make sure that we are as immune as possible. But really think about where you are with your vaccines and with your booster, and just to make sure. I have not heard of anyone not being able to get off in a ship on a port. Nobody has reported to me that information who is sailing around Europe and is vaccinated, but I don't talk to everybody. And so if any of you have had that experience, will you just let us know? Or as you travel to these ports, let us know. And of course, I will let you know as we go to all of these ports. But I think it's just really important to know that. And then the last thing that I think is really important that you know, in both the United Kingdom and both sailings from Europe, Princess is saying that they will provide your disembarkation test for you if you need one to travel to your home country, as long as you can show that your flights are the same day as disembarkation. If you are going to go on another day, then you'll need to get your own test. And so, like I've told you, we are debarking in Barcelona on Saturday, and we're not flying home until Sunday. And so I'm taking this. So these also are what we're going to use as our COVID test for proof to get back into the United States. And so I just want to make sure that everybody is really clear on that. And so there you go. Now we are going to move along to the fun part of our videos every day, where I kind of tell you what all of the updates are and kind of what we're hearing from everybody. So first of all, you know what, yesterday I mentioned that Emmy had told us of the trouble that she was having with flights that she had booked through Norwegian's flight plan. The name is escaping me right now, but like they have Princess Easy Air with Princess, Norwegian has theirs as well. And she had said that when she had gone online to select her seats, they were wanting her to pay. And so I checked with her, and she said that it was booked through American Airlines and they were working with British Airways on their tickets. And then I thought it was fair to let you all know that Karen, she is an amazing Let's Go family member, and she travels a lot with lots of cruise lines. She cruises a lot, but she has lots of experience with Norwegian. And she said that that's not a Norwegian issue. It's based on the airlines. She says the airlines are scamming people on some airlines, telling you to buy seats. And she said, don't do it. She said they will not separate you from your party. This has never happened to them. She says, and we get seats when we check in. And she said they just got on nonstop flights from LA to Orlando on Delta, and their whole family was still together. And I seem to recall that it was an extended family that she had. The flight was totally full, and they didn't separate them. Now, if anybody can add any of their other experience with this, will you let me know? I am just, for whatever reason, tremendously loyal to Delta. And I don't know anyone at Delta. They fly to a lot of places that I want to go, and they usually provide a very nice experience. Not that American doesn't, and not that the others don't, but my experience, I just know about Delta. So if anybody can comment on any of the other airlines and your experience with them, with any of the flight plans that you get through any of the cruise lines, I think that would really help us all out. And so that is one thing that I would really like us to talk about in the comments, if we could today. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk to you all about is Alaska. And you know, the big news right now in Alaska is the Crown Princess. And you know what? I feel for Princess. I think that they're having a really rough go with that ship. While I feel for them, I also have the feeling that they better get their act together, or else because they have so many first-time cruisers right now, people are either going to never cruise again, or they're never going to cruise with Princess again. And so I just am throwing that out there. I still love Princess, and I don't blame the crew on the Crown Princess at all. It just sounds like, you know, the kind of thing like you have one of those days, and if anything can go wrong, it does. It seems like that's what's going on with that ship right now. And so we've had lots of Let's Go family members give me information, and I love that I always receive both sides. Well, not always, but usually I hear both sides of it. And so that's what I'm going to share with you today. So we've got Jill, and she said, yesterday they were in Skagway, and she said it was been the best day of their cruise so far. their sink was clogged up, but their room steward was really nice and got someone to fix it. And so that's really awesome. So thank you for letting us know about that, Jill. I love that she said it was a wonderful day in Skagway. And let's see. Someone else says that they are on the Crown Princess right now. Many problems, including doors that would not unlock, broken toilets in several large areas of the ship, and these people's was broken for 24 hours, canceled excursions, semi-functional medallion app, almost no labels on the buffet food, and I love they ended with, they seem to be trying really hard to help us. And so that sounds like they are trying really hard. And then Dwayne, thank you for your cheerful comment. He says, we're on the Crown Princess right now and having a very good time. Well worth the issues considering that we are getting the cruise credit, which we've heard it's a 20% future cruise credit, and the room credit. I believe they are giving $100 onboard credit. The weather worked out better than could be expected at Ketchikan, dry and warm. Also dry and not too bad in Skagway. And that was yesterday. And hoping it will be a nice day tomorrow in Glacier Bay. So today is their today. So Wednesday today. And so I'm really excited to hear how Glacier Bay went. And I would say that in May to have warm, dry weather in Alaska is like a treat. And so I'm glad that the weather is with them on this. Let's see. My next thing to tell you about is, okay, I've got 2 questions for everybody about Alaska and Seattle. So first of all, our Let's Go family member is wondering if anybody knows about if Royal Caribbean has a bus that goes from the SeaTac airport up to the port in Vancouver like the Princess Transfer does. If nobody comments, I will find out and put it, but I just thought you all have so much experience that maybe one of you not only knows about it, but could share your experience with it. So I would love to hear about that in the comments. And then we also have a Let's Go family member who put in the question saying, my flight will be at 7:10 p.m. from Seattle Airport. I'll have plenty of time after debarkation at Pier 91. Does anybody know how to take public transportation from Pier 91 in Seattle there, where the ship is, over to the SeaTac airport? I have never done that, so if any of you can comment on that, that would be really helpful to her or him. I don't know what their name is. And so if you can comment on that, that would be great. I hope that you are watching this video because I want to add, you might want to look at taking a disembarkation day excursion. Princess always runs excursions wherever people are disembarking, and it's a really nice way to see some sights and spend your day so that you just don't have quite so long to sit at the airport. I know that at the SeaTac airport they do have luggage storage, but you have to pay per piece of luggage. And I haven't done it since 2014, and I thought it was a little expensive then, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just me at the time. But you'd have to pay to store your luggage and then go somewhere else. And I know that they've got the little train there that runs from there. Like you can go over to Pike Place and things like that. But I just wanted to put that out there if anybody can help with that. So, Rick, who is on, I believe it's Royal Caribbean Ovation of the Seas, he said, or she said, I don't know if it's a girl or a boy, but said that it had been raining in Ketchikan the day that they were there. And when they were in Ketchikan, there was a Princess, a Royal Caribbean, and one other ship there that day. So there were 3 ships in port there in Ketchikan. And I just wanted to end with a really fun knowledge and let you all know that Code 4 for Life, our amazing Let's Go family members, they are back on the Ruby Princess. And they were so sweet to let us know that embarkation was easy and they didn't even have to show the ArriveCan app prior to boarding, which is really interesting because some people are letting me know that on the ship they are on, you have to show the ArriveCan app, and clearly they didn't have to show it, but I am very confident that at some point they are going to have that. We've heard from some people that it's your room steward that asks you about that. And so just putting that out there. But Code 4 for Life, we're really excited for you. We're going to look forward to hearing from you about how things are going. And a quick reminder to everybody to watch their channel because they put up videos as well and they do a really good job. And so thank you for sticking with me through this whole big update. I love to hear from you all about how things are going. Will you please just continue to send me information? You can send me emails. You can send me, put things in the comments. I don't share all of the comments here because some of you, I think, read all the comments, but I try to share the ones that I think have a really broad appeal to really help a lot of people. And so that doesn't mean your comment wasn't important if I didn't read it. I just have, I'm just doing my best here. So I really look forward to hearing from you all. You all are so wonderful. If you appreciate these updates, would you please give this video a thumbs up, because that really indeed does help us out a lot. I'll be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.